tonight's topic, we are doing our little takeoff on those wonderful films, The Secret. This is not the life of, this is the secret cost of pets. So Greg, how many pets do you actually have right now?
13 right now. Now what they've done is, every dog is a designer dog, your Labradoodles and your, Cockapoodles, it becomes more expensive. Even now, if you take and get a dog from a rescue, which is always a nice idea, that dog, usually they want a few $100s for that. The reason being is they take care of the dog, it's had its shots. Sometimes if it hasn't been spayed or neutered already, they'll do that. So that cost is already built in. So there is an initial cost to purchasing any dog. But when you go to a breeder, and some people like that because they get a puppy right from the breeder, that can be substantially more. I mean, you can be looking at anywhere from $800 to $2,500 for a dog, depending on the breed. Sometimes the breeder will have already gotten its first shots, called shots and worming. Small dogs can get what we call worms, which is no fun to deal with. But you always want to make sure that even if you get it from the breeder, you bring it to your own veterinarian right away and have it, checked out. And typically, you also have to get your dog licensed with the town that you live in. You have to get tags. The dog tag is your dog license you get through the town, saying I have the dog and it's registered with the town. The other one is you can actually get a chip put in your dog, so if it gets lost, then whoever finds it can run a reader over the chip in its back, and they can have its location. So if it lost its collar, they still have ID. All the toys and all the stuff to take care of that pet. So if you're going to crate the dog, or you're going to do a pen outside, or feeder bowls, leashes. If you have a horse, you can, we're talking about tack. It's a whole nother stratosphere of taking care of a pet. But like I said, I have some non-typical pets. I have turtles and I have ducks, right? So the ducks, they have to build a pen. They have certain, foods they have to eat. It's all about setting it all up so that the pet is comfortable and can live comfortably. Whatever the initial cost of the pet is, I double that for all the paraphernalia, the vaccine, all the initial expenses that come along with it.
Okay, you're not home. What are you going to do with the dog?
Well, I mean, that's up to every individual to decide how they want to do that, but it varies. And I have, people will become so attached to their pets, they're basically their kids, right? And so they're doing everything from doggy daycare, right? I can't be there for them, but I want them to be entertained all day. Right. And this is a day camp. They'll set up play dates to play with other dogs. All this is kind of good because it actually, with your pet, it socializing them. It makes them a lot more used to people, which is always a good thing, and other animals, because you want your pets to interact well with other pets. Nothing worse than having a pet that can't be around anything else, because then it causes you more problems and stress. Two, when you're just selecting a pet, some pets are more susceptible to health issues than others are. Dogs are very popular, cats are very popular. Those are the two most popular pets out there right now. And what happens is, especially with dogs, we're talking about designer breeds. So sometimes when they're breeding for those things, those characteristics, smaller nose, different type, especially have you ever seen the English bulldogs, pushed in faces,
right,
snouts, and they're breathing. It causes breathing issues. It causes hip issues. That type of selective breeding for those traits is not necessarily the best thing for that animal. For the AKC registration, if you go to their website, you'll have a list of all the different breeds that are out there. The other thing, it's not just about the health, it's also about personality. Certain dogs or certain animals are bred with certain personality traits. Some dogs are herders, right? That's what their job is.
Right.
So high activity. You see these dogs that jump. You see the competitions where they have them running through obstacles, or with certain dogs that are predisposed for that. Some, I have a client, he buys a dog for hunting. Right, pointer dog, and they chase stuff and all that. It can be $500 to $600 today to have a dog spayed or neutered. So the issue becomes if the dog just dies naturally, or whatever the pet is, bird, cat, dog, whatever it is, it just die. Well, then it's a matter of disposal, right? And you can bring it to the vet and they'll dispose of it for you. And there's usually a small charge for that. A lot of times you can donate the animal, to those like Tufts. They'll take donations of the pet's body and they'll use it for the veterinary school. You're talking $200 to $300 to have a pet euthanized if they're so sick and you get to that point where you have to do euthanasia.
whether or not pet insurance actually becomes worth it. Like you said, pet insurance, it's a premium. It's like any other insurance. You're paying a premium for the coverage, and then the coverage is usually done on like a rebate. I'm paying it, and then I'm submitting the bill, and they're going to reimburse me.
The issue, why it's a good idea to get pet insurance if, this is a pet you plan on keeping forever home type pet, is because, like you said, if a dog or a pet gets sick and they have to have an operation, it can be $3,000-$4,000.
Right.
I've had people who decided to euthanize a dog because they couldn't afford to do the operation on the dog.
You should get pet insurance if you're going to get it. The earlier, the better. The younger, the pet. So this is you going on vacation, but hey, you've got this pet. What do I do?
Yeah, and so that's for us. Like, I'm going away next week on a vacation, right? So, and typically, if my children were coming with me, my kids, then we would have to board the dogs, or we'd have to have someone come over and take care of them. So there's an expense that goes with that. Dogs can live 12 to 20 years, depending on the breed. Cats can live 15 to 22, 23 years. If you get a parrot or a bird or something like that, they can live 50 years. There's pets that can absolutely, live longer than you. So the concern is, okay, so I get this dog. I love this dog. I'm 65 years old, but I'm 74, 75, I die. If the dog's still alive, now what happens? That's where a lot of times you'll see them ending up in shelter. The problem is, if you get into a no-kill shelter, then they'll keep the pet until someone actually comes and adopts it. But a lot of times that's not the case, and these animals end up euthanized.
Right. And so is this something that, like, somebody, makes reparations in their will, right, about the animal?
That would be the perfect way to do it. Unfortunately, as you and I know, Tom, not enough people even do their own will at all, let alone include their pets in their will, right? Pets are, not necessarily seen as a major issue when we're talking about assets and survivorship and estate planning, all that. Now, when you have larger animals, right, then that comes into play a lot more often.
Like horses, you mean?
Absolutely, right? Because the expense is much greater, the care need is much greater, and so that's when you'll actually see people setting up trusts for their animals. So it's not only someone can care for it, but the money to pay for the care.
Ultimately, pet ownership is a big responsibility. This is something that you absolutely have to really take your time and decide on if you're looking at becoming an owner. If you're already owner, our suggestion is, just like we talk about with individuals, about putting money aside for your own purposes as far as emergency reserves, right, Craig? You'd say this as well. You should have a separate bucket that's for the pet.
Have questions? Ask us. We can help with that. You can email Craig at crichardson@aresfoundation.org, or you can visit the website to learn more about what we do and how we might be able to help you. www.aresfoundation.org. Want to see more of this recording? Go to www.aresfoundation.org/events. If you know an organization or community support group that could benefit from one of our workshops, reach out to Tom T. Alessi at aresfoundation.org. Our mission is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money.